Welcome to Cities on the Move. I'm your host, Stephanie Passingham. Philip Burkhart has been instrumental in coordinating the annual Austin Artist Series. Today we get a preview of the upcoming season. Joan Isle is a collector of Nordic ware. She joins us to share some samples of her collection. And we also visit a local historical landmark in Austin, Knauer's Meat Market. Bob Knauer's grandfather started the store in 1886, and their tradition of great hand-cut meat and quality service remain. We'll have all this and more. Stay tuned for Cities on the Move. Joan Isle has many interests, but she shares one in particular with the Smithsonian Institute. Let's learn more about Nordic ware.
I'm Joan Isley, and my hobby is cooking. And when I was first married, I didn't know how to cook anything. And so I knew that I had to learn. And so we had 4 children, and I was cooking all the time. And I thought, well, I might as well have fun with it and enjoy it and experiment. It's a hobby that grew and grew and grew. It's been fun. Nordic Ware was a company that started in 1946. Mr. Dahlquist and his wife started it. He was a metallurgical engineer, and he made Scandinavian cookware, Abel-Skeever pans and Kronkakke pans and things like that. And then a group of Jewish ladies came to him. The ladies brought in a ceramic Kugelhof pan from Germany. So Mr. Dahlquist said he would try. And so he came up with the bunt pan, which is made out of cast aluminum. Well, then in one of the Pillsbury bake-offs, I think it was 1966, a lady won a prize. She was from Texas, and she won a prize for a cake that was made in this bunt pan. Well, pretty soon the company had 200,000 requests for the bunt pan. And of course the rest is history. It just took off. My husband and I were in Washington, D.C. in November, and we wanted to go to the Museum of American History on the Mall in Washington, and it was closed. And then I saw the article in the paper about how Nordic ware was going to be a new exhibit at this museum, along with Julia Child's cooking. So over the years, the company has been very successful, and they've started making various other shapes. I might show you some of the designs that they make. Now, my daughter has a couple of these. This is what they call the sunflower pan. You're getting out of your picture. The sunflower pan, as you can see, it's shaped like a big sunflower. This one, it's a Christmas wreath. And then I bought this one that is new. It has the 4 different styles. There's a heart, the Bavarian style, and there's your ordinary Nordic. And this is called, I think it's a star. This one is my first, and it's my favorite. And it's amazing when you use them, the cake will just pop right out, and the design is very, very evident. My collection is very small, but I hope that it will grow. Another big selling point with buntware is that you really don't need to frost them very much, because they're so pretty that if you put a lot of frosting on, you don't see the nice design. Yes, you can bake cakes, of course, but you can make other things. And in this little cookbook, they have Jello molds, yes, and even hot dishes. Well, I love Nordic ware because it's fun to cook with, and it's inspiring, and everybody seems to like it. And it's from the area, and it's going to be in the Smithsonian, which I think is a great honor. So get baking.
Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Austin Artists Series, and our special guest today is Phil Burkhart, who is president of the organization. Thanks for being here, Phil.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about, for those who may not know, What is the Austin Artist Series?
The Austin Artist Series is one of the largest and longest running artist series in the Midwest. It is a group of volunteers, just like you and I. We get together and we arrange to have groups come to the Austin High School Auditorium, Knowlton Auditorium, to perform for the people of the Austin area. And these are groups from around the world. They're internationally known groups of the highest caliber. And we sell tickets and make all the arrangements for those performances. And we think of it as a way of adding to the cultural life of our city.
Great. And you said longest running. How long has the series been presented?
This will be our 67th year.
Wow. Oh, that is a long time.
It is.
Great tradition in the community. Give us a sense of the types, and we're going to talk about the upcoming season, but give me an idea of the type of performances that have come in the past, perhaps.
Well, we've had hundreds of performances, and again, from all over the world. We have all the way from ballet to Chinese circuses to musical productions to orchestras to soloists from all different parts of the globe. When we sit down to choose these, we have a board of directors, and we have a agent that we work with in Minneapolis, and he comes and he shows us what's available, and then we choose the ones that we want to come here that we think Austin folks would be interested in, and according to our budget. And then we set up our ticket prices and ticket sales, and we sell our tickets then in September, starting the day after Labor Day, for 2 weeks. And that's basically our job, and these are the different kinds of groups that we have. So it all depends on what's available, but it also depends on what we think will be entertaining for the folks of Austin.
All right, a nice variety, and from all over the world too.
Yes.
That has been great. Now, you mentioned ticket sales. This is kind of a subscription. You buy one ticket and it gets you into all of the concerts. Describe a little bit how that works.
Well, it seems to work real well for us. We sell only a season ticket. So we have 5 concerts in Austin, and then there are 4 in Osage, Iowa, which we can also go to on that ticket, and they also can come to our concerts. Okay. So a total of 9 concerts, but the ticket, there's one ticket for all the concerts. So we will sell during the campaign, which is September 7th through the 21st. We sell tickets at that time, and we ask folks to buy them at that time. And we'll sell individual tickets for $35 for adults, or a family ticket would be, I believe, yes, $75 for a family, and $10 for a student. And so they buy those tickets during those 2 weeks, and they're good for the entire year.
And what a great value for that 9 concerts you could attend for that.
Well, you know, you could end up spending $35 just to go to one of these groups in the cities. So yes, it is an incredible deal, and we're able to keep the ticket prices low so that we can get everybody who's interested to buy them. But it is important that folks know that we don't sell tickets for the individual concerts. They have to buy a ticket. And I'll mention this phone number now, 437-4834. Would be our contact number if you wanted to buy a ticket. If you've bought a ticket last year, we will call. We will call you. If you did not buy a ticket last year and you would like to buy a ticket and you don't get called, then you would call that number. Or if you've never been called and never bought a ticket, again, you could call that number. But during the week, again, 2 weeks of September 7th through 21st.
And that is important. You like to get all those tickets in and know kind of what you're working with, and then people are set through the balance of the year. So, and for customers too, a nice way to get it out of the way.
Yes.
Now, do you have any, you know, you've been involved, I'm sure, for many, many years. Do you have any favorites? Are there any memorable concerts or performances that you can share?
Well, I tell you, when I first thought about that question, I thought, I cannot pinpoint one or two. I mean, there have been so many. And of course, being a music teacher, I'm sort of partial to the classical ones, but and we've had some wonderful orchestras here, and concert bands and concert choirs, but we've had so many wonderful groups from all over the world that have been mixed the classical with the popular genre, and so that you get a great spectrum of music, and I love those performances also. So rather than pinpoint one or two, I would have to say, as far as our family shows, we try every year to get something for the family. We've had a great response to things like the Chinese acrobats and things like that. And that gives you an example of what a great variety of acts that we bring in. But this year too, we're going to be bringing some family acts.
And you mentioned family tickets. So children are allowed to come? Is there a particular age range that you might recommend?
Well, children of almost any age, very small children might find some of the concerts not as interesting. But if they purchase a family ticket, your whole family can go. So, and we leave it up to the parents to decide on
Decide
the
whether they can sit through that. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and what a great way to introduce young people to some wonderful performances.
Exactly.
Great. Talk a little bit, if you would please, about why something like this is such a wonderful asset to the community.
Well, it's difficult for us living in the Midwest to get to New York, although many of us do. Or to, let's say, Los Angeles, or to London, or to Peking, China, or to Hong Kong, or to Czechoslovakia, all cities that have provided concerts for us. And we can sit in our community, we can stay here and come to an auditorium at the high school and and view these acts as if we were traveling around the world, which is pretty amazing when you think about it.
Really, yeah.
Especially for that price. I mean, it's a great asset for the cultural life of our community.
Great. Let's talk a little bit about this year's lineup, because it sounds like you have another great set of performances coming. Let's talk a little bit about Abbey Road is the first one that's going to come along. Tell us a little bit about them.
Abbey Road's on October 16th, and they are, according to the publicity, well, they are the Beatles. But they're not the, I tell people the Beatles are coming and they look at me funny. They're not the original four. But what they are is a group of four men who grew up listening to the Beatles and now are performing their music. Now, we call that a tribute band, and there are other Beatles tribute bands out there. But this one is special because they don't concentrate on costumes and wigs and the outfits. They decided to concentrate on the sound. And honestly, if you listen to them, you cannot tell the difference between them and the Beatles. And they're going to do all the wonderful old tunes. I Want to Hold Your Hand, Oobla Dee Oobla, all the stuff that I grew up on, my generation. And now children, these kids today are listening to them because it's classical.
You just
it's
have
a
to
classical.
sit through the concert with your eyes closed, and you'll never know.
Honestly, you can't tell the difference.
Well, let's actually take a look, get a little sneak peek about what Abbey Road is going to be like in the upcoming season. Look like a lot of fun. I think that'll be a great start to your series.
It will be.
So tell us what comes up next.
Then on November 2nd, and by the way, I should mention that's Election Day, so this concert is going to be at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Yes, and I want everybody to know that. All the other concerts are at 7.
Okay.
This is our big show. This is the immensely popular musical Forever Plaid, which started in 1990 as an off-Broadway play, and immediately took off, became a hit in New York, and has traveled around the world now. It played in the cities off and on over the last 20 years, many times, often to sold-out crowds. It's a great show. It's a musical, and it's the story of 4 guys who want to get together and form a guy band. They used to, or guy group, like the Letterman, you know, the 4 freshmen.
Sure.
And sing music of the 50s. And on the night of their first show, they have an accident, which is kind of a downer, and they're all killed.
Oh no.
But yes, but they go to heaven and are given a second chance to do that performance. So they're returned from the afterlife and they give the show of their lives.
Right, okay.
And they sing all these wonderful tunes, and there's a lot of humor, there's storytelling, dancing, singing.
Fun.
It's a great musical, and it's our big show for the year.
All right, and then you've got River City 6 coming up in January.
January 27th, which is a brass quintet plus a drummer, classically trained, but they do music of all the different styles, not just classical. They'll do jazz, Sousa. It's sort of like sitting on a summer evening watching a fine brass band.
Nice.
And in January, what would be better when you think about it?
That's right. Sounds good. Then you've got Club Swing is the next one. This one looks fun.
Oh, this is going to be another big show. We're really able to get some good groups this year, as we usually do. It's 5 singers and a backup band. And what they are, again, it's sort of a story, a musical story about a group that gets together and they're celebrating the swing era at the Hotel Crosby, which is a fictional place, but it's supposed to be like the Copacabana.
Okay.
All right, so they put on this great show of all the great swing tunes. And the 5 singers are backed up by, as I said, by a jazz band. And they do the music of Glenn Miller and Tommy Dorsey and all of these great tunes from the 40s and 50s. So their publicity talks about the rise and fall of the swing music. I'm not quite sure what the fall is,
Yeah,
but
I was going to say,
yes,
I think it's still pretty popular.
I think probably it's very popular. It's coming. It has a resurgence now, but it is kind of there's a story to it. But there's a lot of wonderful singing, and people are going to love this.
Let's get another sneak peek of these folks.
You gotta sing, 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 sing. Everybody's got to sing. You gotta stop that door, hop off the floor. Now you gotta sing along with the swing. Go on and sing, 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 sing. Everybody's got to sing. You gotta stop that door, hop off the floor. Now you gotta sing along with the swing. Hear the rhythm, feel the beat. Having a hard time keeping from stomping your feet. And while singing, moving along, tell all the people to sing along. You gotta sing, 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 sing. Everybody's got to sing. You gotta stop that door.
I think that one would be my favorite.
It's
I
gonna be
love that
great.
music. Well, let's talk about the finale. Cahal Dún is your last concert of the series.
Cahal Dún is an Irish singer who has been touring the world the last, I think, 20 years, and he is one of the most popular singers in Ireland. Had a hit tune in Ireland and Europe, a #1 tune, and was named Singer of the Year or Entertainer of the Year for Europe. As you'll see when you show the clip, he's extraordinarily personable and a wonderful singer, and all the great Irish songs he will sing. When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, Danny Boy, all of those songs. And for anybody who loves the Irish and loves the Irish music, this is going to be a great show.
All right, well, let's take a listen.
My lovely name is McNamara, I'm the leader of the band. Although if you a number, we're the finest in the land. And we play at wakes and weddings and at every county ball. And when we play at funerals, we play the march and song. And I shall hear those softy tread above me. And all my grave.
Well, a great performance for your finale. That sounds like a wonderful series. Now, you do partner with Osage, and so if you want to mention just briefly the 4 performances that will take place there, that folks who buy the ticket can go to all 9 if they wish, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
September 24th will be the Redhead Express, which is a bluegrass family band. November 7th, Simon & Son, it's a piano duet. February 1st, Edgar Cruz, who is a classical guitarist but who plays music of all genre. And April 28th, the Marlins, 4 brothers who play a variety of music on a variety of instruments. So those are going to be great shows too.
Sounds great. Now, you do sell tickets for this performance, but you also have others in the area who support this concert series in a little bit extra special way. Tell us how that program works.
Well, that's called our Patrons and Sponsors program, so that if someone, whether it be a business or individuals or couples, would like to become a patron or a sponsor, they would pay a little bit more than the price of the ticket. They receive their ticket, but they'd also get their name in the program as someone who's gone a little bit beyond and become a patron and sponsor. And this program has really helped us keep the ticket prices very, very low and has helped support this great cultural thing that we have in our community here. So I encourage anybody who would like to become a patron and sponsor, again, to call that number, 437-4834, between September 7th and the 21st, and we'd be happy to include them on that program.
All right, sounds good. Well, it sounds like a wonderful lineup of performances, and what a great asset to the community. We really appreciate all the efforts that you and the rest of your board members have done to bring this to the local community.
We have a great board. They work hard, and our ticket sellers are wonderful too. So we have a real wonderful group to work with.
Great. Sounds like many in the community have embraced this, and it sounds like you have a good crowd too.
Yes, we do.
So great. Thank you so much, Phil, for coming in and sharing this with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. So again, if you want to purchase a ticket, remember 7th through the 21st of September is the window of opportunity to buy a ticket to the series, and just call the number that's listed there on your screen. Stay tuned for more Cities on the Move. Bob Knauer still comes to the store every day to oversee the business his grandfather started more than 120 years ago. Let's stop by and see what makes Knauer's Meat Market so unique.
In the old days, there was a corner grocery store on many corners in every community. In the mid-20th century, Austin, Minnesota was home to more than 40 such local markets. Today, Knauer's Meat Market remains as the only independent grocery store. Current owner Bob Knauer tells us of the store's history, which began with his grandfather in 1886.
Tony Knauer, there's a picture of the old gang up there on the wall. Tony Knauer opened it up, and of course he came from Germany, and he was a very talented sausage maker. Now, in the days before freezers and all that, they had to have, they made a lot of sausage, and they cooked it and smoked it to make sure that it had a good keeping quality. Farmers could buy 10 rings of bologna and hang it in the granary. When they started in 1886, you know, Hormel used to send one of their representatives over, and they used to buy sausage here and run it back and test it to see what he was doing. And Tony Knauer was a super meat man. He understood it. If you look, there's sawdust on the floor, and let's see, that would probably be about 1920, 22 in there. They used to have sawdust on the floor, you know, all over, because of the fact that when they're lugging beef and everything, we had in the old days, a lot of people bought beef quarters, took them home and cut them themselves. So they'd be lugging beef and beef boxes, and in order to keep them having a floor full of drippings or anything like that, they put sawdust down. And they would have a lot of, we've had a lot of different people working here. One fella came in and he said, "What is all this stuff they put on the floor?" And of course, one of our managers, Dave, said, "That's chicken food, chicken feed." I said, "Chicken feed? I don't see any chicken." He said, "Well, in case they come in, there's some down there." There used to be 3 brothers that owned this, and of course they've passed on. And then I had one brother that was going to run it, and he had a heart attack and died. So it ends up that all this grief is mine.
Mid-century, there was a great deal of competition. Service and quality were key.
In Austin, well, right up the street here was the A&P, the Red Owl, National Tea, and all. Austin had a lot of 40-some stores. However, we used to cut meat for about 30 stores. And we had a daily delivery that went out, we still do. And we had stores and restaurants, and the main thing is, it isn't the sale that you make, it's the fact that you want people to come back. And so if you're working on a limited population, you have to concentrate on quality. We still have citywide delivery. They call and they give us an itemized order, and of course we question them about the size of the items involved, so they're not going to get a gallon of something if they only need a pint. But the thing is this, that you do have to have a pretty good knowledge of all products. And that includes fresh vegetables, that includes all the meat items, and of course grocery too.
And meat is their specialty. Store manager and meat cutter Jake Boss explains.
We have a lot of restaurant accounts that they still do their big steak nights. They like to get a specific cut of steak, whether that be a 10-ounce sirloin, a 16-ounce T-bone, New York strips. We cut meat daily here, every day. We grind all the hamburger, so we have a very good hamburger that people really enjoy. We do a full line of beef and pork. We also carry lamb, the bone-in lamb. We can get boneless. We usually do a special order around this time of year. Now, more around the holiday, we keep it on hand. Lamb chops, leg of lamb, boneless lamb.
So if you're in the market for a little old-fashioned customer service, custom processing, and a good story or two, check out Knauer's Meat Market in Austin, Minnesota.
Here's what's happening in the Austin area this month. The 126th Mower County Fair will be held August 10th through the 15th. All the Mower County historical buildings will be open and free for tours at 1 p.m. daily during Fair Week. And the 12th Annual Antique Tractor Show will also be held. Contact the Fairgrounds office for a complete schedule and details at 507-433-1868 or visit MowerCountyFair.com. And also, don't forget, some of these great summer nights are perfect for visiting the Sola Fide Observatory. The observatory is open on Saturday evenings at 9 p.m. Contact Keith Snyder at 507-433-1903 for more information. If you have an event to share, please log on to ksmq.org and post your information today. Next week on Cities on the Move, we will check out Mason City, Iowa. We'll visit the Ray Rorick Skate Park, meet author John Skipper, and learn how crime mapping works. Please join us Tuesday, August 10th at 6:30 p.m. for another edition of Cities on the Move. I'm your host, Stephanie Passingham. Good night.
Production of this program is made possible in part through a grant from the Blandon Foundation.